Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. The project Adapting to Salinity in Southern Indus Basin has been started this year from March 15. To implement this project, several international partners from Australia and Dubai and national partners are working together. Initially, the project locations are southern Punjab, Sindh, and coastal areas where 5 bright spot communities have been taken for the research. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you the origin of the project, what Pakistan needs and how Australia can help. Several research studies and reports on waterlogging and salinity have indicated that Pakistan is facing huge challenges of the salinity management in the Indus Basin. Salinity in the Indus Basin is characterized primary salinity and secondary salinization. It is estimated that about 15 million tons of salt annually is added in the Indus Basin. As a result, about 4.5 million hectare land is affected by the salinity. Out of this, 54% land is affected in the lower part of the Indus Basin. This salinity situation in Pakistan is further accelerating due to use of poor quality groundwater. To address this salinity problem and find the long-term sustainable solutions, the Australian teams of experts travel all along the way, the Indus Basin from Faisalabad, Multan, Nawabshah, Quetta and the coast, and visited salt-affected land and communities, and held series of workshops in various locations. Similarly, Pakistani project partners traveled all along the way of the Murray-Darling Basin in Australia and visited landscapes and the institutions who are involved in salinity management, including land care. The lessons learned from these two visits, the salinity problem of both countries, Indus Basin and Murray-Darling Basin, are of similar nature, means the primary and the secondary salinization. Holistic approach that includes community participation, capacity building of the institutions, a strong network of stakeholders, which includes policymakers, professionals, and the communities at local, provincial, national, and international levels, is the best option for managing the salinity. It is also learned from these two visits and the deliberations that Australia has 3 decades long experiences and well-tested approaches and strategies on this holistic approach, which we understand that this experience can help to manage the salinity in Pakistan as a long-term sustainable solution. So we call it living with salinity. That is the slogan of the holistic approach. This approach also responds to the national water policy of Pakistan, which says that waterlogging and salinity continues to persist despite huge investment is taken in this sector in Pakistan. A new approach that tackles the problem is called holistic approach that could be on basin-wide level, and that will help to improve this salinity in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your listening.
Hello, yes, this is Michael Mitchell. I'm providing the voiceover for Dr. Ali's presentation. In the early stages of this project's development, we engaged Dr. Ali to provide us with a review of past approaches to salinity management in Pakistan. His review influenced us to adopt a holistic approach. Here, Dr. Ali offers additional evidence to underpin this rationale. As background, Dr. Ali reminds us that the interconnected problems of waterlogging and salinity surfaced across a large area of the Indus Basin in the 1950s, affecting productivity, environment, and society. Projects to manage these problems started in the 1970s. These were mostly mega projects, notably the Salinity Control and Reclamation Projects, or SCARP, which Dr. Ali found in his study to be mostly unsustainable in the long run. This time, Dr. Ali refers to the results of another independent evaluation undertaken in 2018. This review evaluated 5 mega projects and concluded that the project success rate was low, and their sustainability was also questioned. A bright spot of community tube wells showed a relatively better success rate. Reasons for the low success rate were identified as being due to low institutional capacity, constraining the implementation of such large and complex projects, the lack of farmers' participation, and over-ambitious targets that became difficult to deliver given ineffective monitoring frameworks. The scourge of salinity continues to affect productivity, and the people living in affected areas continues to suffer. So, both this review and that of Dr. Ali's reinforce a strong message that there needs to be a change in focus from eradicating salinity to living with salinity, and this has become the catch cry for the project being launched today. A project that promotes an approach of living with salinity needs to be community-based, enable farmers' participation, and be simple in design. Options for farmers need to be low cost, high impact, and be tested with them. We need to learn from their own practices, blend that with innovation, and enhance farmer capacity. Dr. Ali thus concludes with some advice for our project, that we carefully monitor progress towards our intended outcome of improved agricultural productivity of salinity-affected landscapes, and have the research co-designed with stakeholders, including farmers, to ensure the project delivers tangible outputs, knowledge products, best practices on the ground, technical and policy options, and enhanced capacity. I thank Dr. Ali for his input, and he is available to answer questions during a panel session. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give you a brief overview of PCRWR approach for the development of partnership in Pakistan. In fact, one of the key strengths of PCRWR is its partnership with the national, international organization, NGOs, local communities. It has 24 offices, right, starting from the Gilgit-Baltistan to the Arabian Sea. These offices, common laboratories, they conduct research according to the issue faced by that particular region and area. One of the strengths of PCRWR is its research on waterlogging and salinity. In fact, PCRWR is pioneer in conducting research on waterlogging and salinity, and it has a dedicated center on waterlogging and salinity named as Drainage and Reclamation Institute of Pakistan, located at Tandozan. PCRWR has been able to establish a number of partnerships for the management of the land and water resources in the countries. A few recent examples are from the upper catchments, where we establish our partnership with MUET, WWF, the local institutions and communities. Then again, we have one partnership with the ACIAR and the other national and international partners, local communities, for the management of the groundwater in Balochistan, Punjab, and Sindh. Recently, we have established a partnership for the protection of the Indus Delta using saline agriculture and saline aquaculture. Here we have partnered with a number of national and international partners, along with the provincial partnerships and also the communities. Our approach is mainly based on the synthesis of the existing knowledge, identifying the gaps between the policies and practices, identifying institutional capacity, implementation experience of the partner institutes. Basically, this whole co-learning process help us to find the appropriate partners for the development of the community-based planning and piloting. These pilot sites, they act as a showcase for the scaling out and scaling up of the promising land and water management technology, ultimately leading to the new proposals, new projects, new programs for the sustainable management of the land and water resources, leading to a locally owned partnership when ACIAR or any other foreign funding is disengaged. The same approach we would be adopting for the Salinity project, and I hope this approach would help us to identify the appropriate partnership for the management of the salinity sustainably. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for providing me this opportunity to talk about ACIAR work in Pakistan. I would like to cover three things, as the slide says: what we have done in past, what we are working currently, and what we plan to do in future. And of course, I'm not going to talk about your project because that has been covered by others and yourself. So actually, we started working in Pakistan back in 1986, and we started working on this specific issue of salt and water logging. It was back in 1986 under the leadership of Ad Burnett and Dr. Riaz Qureshi. These two gentlemen, they led the activities, and they were the pioneers from ACIAR side and from University of Agriculture Faisalabad side, and they produced excellent material which is still being used as a reference for many studies, for projects, and even for your project that is being used. And since then we had worked on many things like forage production from salt affected soils, conjunctive water in saline, use of water in saline environment, then managing salinization by mixing groundwater with the canal water, and then testing Australian old man salt bush varieties, especially as a feed for small ruminants. And recently what we have done is we have led a community education program on groundwater management and monitoring irrigation, whatever water is leading at the farm, how to manage that and how to optimally use that. Then we have done in basin scale modeling with the help of experts from CSU, from your university, and we have also done a study on managing irrigation schemes in Pakistan. What we intend to do in future, besides your project or in order to support your project, that we are going to explore the possibility of using saline lakes in southern Punjab and Sindh for marine aquaculture development for fish or for other marine aqua life. Then also we are going to study the trees and shrubs for salinity. That's the two activities which are on card, but through this activity and through this today's workshop, and which will be, and then following a series of workshops, we seek innovative partnership with the local and international agencies for sustainable programs for water and land use in this region of the world. And with this, I thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.